I'm making a first-person boomer shooter where whenever you kill an enemy, you draw a poker card. You draw cards until you build up your own poker hand, and whenever you play that poker hand, you'll get a new gun. The last devlog was 10 months, but I have been hard at work, and it really did take me forever to learn how the poker mechanic is even gonna work out. Speaking of poker, so for a few months, I'm not even kidding, I was going around reading different online resources, watching tutorials for engines that's not even the Godot engine, because yes, I am building this in the Godot engine, and to my surprise, there wasn't a lot of poker resources on the Godot engine. Watching tutorials in other engines, as well as actual downloadable projects and templates, I still couldn't figure it out. That is until I found this person's channel. If it wasn't for NodeG, this game probably wouldn't be where it's at today, so thank you so much, NodeG, or NodeEgg. I like NodeEgg. Now the code that he wrote was for an older version of Godot, but it was a version of Godot that I was actually used to using. And not only that, I am not playing poker like how you would play poker in real life or in a casino. I'm not playing against another person. You're basically playing the poker hands as combos. You're playing poker against yourself, I guess, or against the game. I don't know how to really phrase it. Not only that, but whenever you kill an enemy, you don't draw from a deck. Rather, the enemy drops a poker card, which means you can have different poker hands in this game that you can't really have in real life. For instance, like a 5 of a kind. In a normal poker deck, there are only 4 cards for one number. So there is a 4 of clubs, a 4 of hearts, a 4 of diamonds, a 4 of spades. But in this game, you can duplicate and you could get, say, 2 4 of hearts, which would equal a 5 of a kind. We're going to talk about more of that in the gun section, but it is very important that you know. So of course, in this game, there are the usual hands of pair, 2 pair, 3 of a kind, straight, flush, full house, 4 of a kind, straight flush, and a royal flush. Now in real life, there is also a hand called a high card that you can play, but since you're not playing poker against someone else, I kind of had to take the high card out. So if you're following, right now there are only 9 hands you can play, but there are 3 that I have had. The first one being 5 of a kind. That's kind of self-explanatory. You get 5 of the same number. The next poker hand that I added is called a flush house. Now it's similar to a full house, but of course in the fashion of a flush, they all have to be the same exact suit. The last hand that I added, and the hardest hand to get, is a flush 5. A flush 5 is a 5 of a kind, but every single card is the same exact suit, which is extremely rare in my testing. So while in the middle of editing this, my friend told me to look up the game Balatro. Now because I'm making a poker game, you'd think I would have at least played Balatro, but I seriously haven't. And I looked it up, and yeah, every single hand you can get in this game, you get in Balatro. Now I'm afraid people are just gonna call me the Balatro FPS game. Oh God, what did I do to myself? Now talking about statistics, I actually had a bunch of help with this over on Reddit. The second biggest help I have had with this game, so big shout out to you over on Reddit. This individual went ahead and set up statistics out of 5 million hands that you draw. And of course you could see the highlighted numbers here. I'm not gonna go ahead and read. And at this flush 5, you will only get it 2 times for every 5 million hands you draw. We will have to correct those little issues or those small chances in the actual level design themselves. Now because of how the hands scale, I also had to come up with a set of guns for each hand. You know, whenever you play a hand, they have to scale correctly. So speaking of guns,
nice. Pair, shotgun, 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 shotgun. 2 pair, double Uzi. 3 of a kind, Tommy gun. Flush, chainsaw. Full house, minigun. Straight, grenade launcher. 4 of a kind, flamethrower. 5 of a kind, katana. Flush house, rocket launcher. Break flush, laser beam. Royal flush, rocket launcher, minigun.
with how the hands scale in this game and how there's such a drastic chance to get them from the first hand to the last hand, I really needed to make those guns or those weapons that you get feel worth it. Because if the flush 5 weapon is just as good as the pair weapon, why would you even want to strive for that flush 5 combo? So for the shotgun, it is quintessential in a boomer shooter. And of course, I'm going to align it with the middle of the screen, just like classic Doom games. I mean, kind of like a throwback, I guess. It's super short range, and I do have it on a pellet system, a hit scan pellet system. Now, much like a lot of other boomer shooters, this game, you do not have to reload any of your weapons. But technically, I guess the shotgun reloads because you have to kind of rack the slide. But other than that, no other guns reload. And for the double Uzis, I wanted something, I don't know, very akin to like the dual wielding SMGs in Halo 2. You know what I mean? Just that wild bullet spread, really good at spraying and praying, close range, but not really that good long range. For the first actual long range weapon, we have a Tommy gun. This is the first weapon upgrade that you get that can shoot more than like 10 feet in front of you, but it's really good. It still has a heavy kickback though, and the bullets don't do as much damage as the guns later on, and that's another big thing. Each of these weapons, they will fire differently, but they will also scale in weapon damage. Speaking of scale in weapon damage, here is the chainsaw. Now this is a super high powered weapon, but of course it's going to be super short range, even shorter than the shotgun or the double Uzis. The reason why you would get this over the shotgun or the double Uzis is because it's going to have way more ammo. It's going to be way better for tight-knit corners, really enclosed rooms, which I'm going to be having a lot of in this game. And you know, it's a freaking chainsaw. It's sick, dude. Next up is the mini guns. Now this is another longer range weapon, kind of like the Tommy gun. Although the bullet spread is highly reduced, the recoil is reduced, and you will have a bunch of ammo. Now all of these guns are subject to change, especially the art. I am using Kenny's gun pack, 3D gun pack. We all know, love Kenny if you're in the game dev kind of community, I guess. So big shouts out to him for a bunch of these assets for my guns. But like a lot of these guns, this is subject to change. Now one thing I wanted to change about the minigun is maybe even add like a wind up timer that it takes to fire it, just to give it more of that minigun feel. Obviously also change the gun model. Next up is the grenade launcher. Now the grenade launcher, whenever you fire a grenade, it does have physics, so it can bounce off walls, it can bounce off, you know, floors, ceilings, all that good stuff. And it also has a timer on it, so after a certain amount of time it will blow up regardless of if it hits an enemy. But if you directly hit an enemy, whether it be off a bank shot or just a clear range shot because you're good at the game, it will automatically blow up. Now this is kind of like Junkrat's primary fire if you guys ever played Overwatch 2. Next up is the flamethrower. So I tried a bunch of different ways to make the flame of the flamethrower. I tried multiple particle systems. I tried to make it almost like a hit scan at one point. I was losing my mind over this one weapon, but then I saw the pyro from Team Fortress 2. And listen, I never played Team Fortress 2. A bunch of my friends did, so I never even knew that this existed. But doing my research on flamethrowers in video games, I saw the Team Fortress 2 flamethrower, and it seemed like it was projectile based. So that's kind of what I did in my game. I made the little blue part of the flame a static particle, and then I made it so the flamethrower shoots out projectile flames. And within these flames, of course, there are particles and stuff to try to make it look good. Like I said, all of this is subject to change. But finally, after I spent like 2 weeks on this flamethrower, rebuilding it from the ground up like 4 or 5 times, I'm finally happy with the flamethrower. And it's actually really growing on me. The next weapon you can get in the roster is a katana blade. Now this katana blade needs a bunch of work, I'm not gonna lie. Look at these animations, bro. They're horrible. But the katana blade also shoots out a projectile energy blade. Think of that one sword from Skyrim, the Blood Scowl blade. With the katana, you also have a new special ability. You can dash. You dash in the direction that you're facing, and whenever you kill an enemy, you will get a dash reset. Next up is the rocket launcher. Now this is a very heavily inspired by Halo 2. I just didn't add the auto lock feature because I'm dumb. I don't know how to do that. Maybe if I add robot enemies or something, I can add an auto lock feature, kind of like in Halo. Next up is the laser beam. Now, like I said, literally from Halo again. This is the Sentinel beam from Halo, or if you play Overwatch, this is basically Zarya's beam or Symmetra's beam in a nutshell, right? It's a hit scan beam energy weapon. this is going to be a very high damaging weapon. If the Tommy gun does 1 point of damage every tick, the laser beam will do 5 damage every ticks, and it ticks faster, if that makes sense. It's going to be very powerful, the most powerful hit scan weapon you can get in this game. And last but not least is a rocket launcher machine gun. It's basically the rocket launcher. It just fires like 3 times as fast, 4 times as fast. It's kind of boring for like a last weapon, but I really do think the destruction it causes and the fact that you can like rocket jump, do all this crazy stuff, I hope it's going to be fun. I still have a lot of testing to do. I basically just finished all of these guns within the past like 2 or 3 months. So, you know, like I said, everything's subject to change. Now, if you've been keeping track, there is one hand that I'm missing, and that is the Flush 5. It is, you know, the hand that you can get only 2 out of 5 million. And that combo, I still have yet to implement it, but it's going to be a Grim Reaper. Now, much like the flamethrower, whenever you shoot the flamethrower, the enemy will have an on-fire effect. My thought process is maybe when you play the hand for the Grim Reaper, it can have like that same kind of pop-up effect of a Grim Reaper, and the Grim Reaper will deal like 100 damage to everyone. I mean, I want this to be like a nuke from Call of Duty Zombies. You guys remember that? You guys ever played that back in the day? So, other than the poker and the guns, I have actually been working on a bunch of different stuff, including this new test room, which you saw during the gun portion. And this test room, I really just want to get a feel for this game, for how I want the levels to kind of look, not even look, but like the vibe, the feel that the levels give off, right? I really love the idea of the early 2000s CGI aesthetic. The really weird and obtuse patterns, you know, the really basic and primitive shapes, alongside with like these weirdly high detailed, I don't know. There's like a certain aesthetic that I want some of the levels to have. Now, like I said, the art style of this game is going to be all over the place. So while you'll get some early 2000 CGI levels, you're also going to get some pixel art levels. You're also going to get some AAA quality forests that you can run through. I want the levels to really feel like you're in a really weird place where nothing meshes well together. I hope you guys understand the vibe I'm trying to go for. I explained it in the last video, like kind of like Alice in Wonderland, where everything's weird and out of place. Other than level building theory and world building, I've also been working a bunch on the UI elements, making it easier for the player to read specifically what hand they have and when they can play it. Other than that, I've been working on stuff like dynamic footsteps. This is clearly only for immersion, but I needed a break from coding guns and poker all day, so I did some miscellaneous stuff. I also made these card target scenes. Now, in the last devlog, I did have targets already, but I wanted to make these card target scenes specifically because I needed to troubleshoot and test the different hands. But I've come to realize I can also use these card target scenes maybe in a boss fight. Like maybe a boss has 3 phases, and at the end of each phase, it could squirt out a bunch of cards, and you could shoot the targeted cards and get that exact card. You see, whenever you kill an enemy in this game, you will draw a card, but that card will be random. Whenever you shoot a card target scene, you will get the exact card that is on the card target. So these card target scenes are probably going to be found in little caches throughout the level, kind of like health packs will, or like armor packs will. And they're going to basically replace like when you're in Doom and you find a gun. Instead of finding a gun, maybe you'll find a flush house. Now listen, the last devlog came out literally 10 months ago, and I hate to even say that. But you know, there's been a lot going on in my life. Some people very close to me had some health issues that I needed to help with. That's no excuse though. If you subscribe right now, I promise the next video won't take 10 months to come out. I can put my word on that. Take my word as a man. But hey, hopefully you guys forgive me. Hopefully you guys are excited for the next devlog, and I'll see you then. Peace. Well, is there anything you want to say for the devlog?
What would I say for the devlog?
Hi guys. Thanks for watching.
Is that how it really sounds? What the hell?
No.
Okay, bro.